benchmark indices. Midcaps is where the action was, but the Midcap index too has tapered a tad bit. I think we'll be chatting with the management of Lupin soon. That stock is down 6%. Is down close to about 6% odd. The problem for Lupin this time around is the weak United States sales, which declined by 21%. Nilesh Gupta, the MD, and Ramesh Swaminathan, the CFO of the company, now join in. Nilesh, let me start with you. There was a decline across region. What was the key reason, and particularly if you could throw some more light in the United States, what was the impact, say, of the metformin recall, the Solosec sales?
As you know, we had guided to a tough quarter, tough Q1 on count of COVID. And as expected, we saw the impact in the market across really all our regions. To be honest, the only business that actually outperformed was our API business. Specifically, both US and India were impacted. As you know, we usually do 180, 190 million in the US. In Q4, we actually did 205 million. And that was, COVID-related stockpiling that went into that as well. And coming into Q1, demand contracted by 12% versus the sequential quarter, and that obviously resulted in a significant reduction. Coupled with that was the seasonality. The flu products dropped off considerably. Products like Tamiflu, products like azithromycin even, and the cephalosporins. And the third contributing factor was metformin. As you know, we had the recall, and we basically had no revenues for metformin in Q1. These three together resulted in that 180 odd million coming down to 150 odd million. So there was a 30 million odd gap which got created, and very quickly we see that reversing significantly in Q2. We see the demand has already started picking up. We see the acute scripts also improving in the US towards the, there were supply disruptions also. Those two we believe we will be able to address in Q2. We see a ramp up in levothyroxine, and we see customers starting their winter purchase by the end of the quarter as well, which will then mean a lift off for products like azithromycin, oseltamivir, the cephalosporins as well. Importantly, we expect Glumetza to get back into the market basically by next month. We believe that we have a near-term fix which is adequate to inspire confidence in the product. The product was pulled from the market as abundant caution on the NDMA issue, but we believe that we have addressed it and we want to bring it back to the market next month. And lastly, obviously, albuterol. We talked about earlier an H2 launch, then we said we likely will have this as, sooner than that. We're keeping our fingers crossed. Hopefully, still within this quarter, we hope to be able to launch albuterol. Same way in India, just like the US, same way in India, we saw the decline. I think that was really across the industry as well. So we saw the industry declining. We degrew 5.8% year on year as well, primarily on the back of the acute products. Usually Q1 is the stronger quarter and Q2 is weaker. We actually see that Q2 will this time around be stronger than Q1. So we'll have sequential growth in the India region. So again, that will go back to a stronger Q2 for the India region as well. So we do see a bounce back in Q2 itself. I think we had a stronger story which was coming out of Q4. Q1 obviously COVID played spoil sport, but I think in Q2 we should be able to get things back on track. It's not going to be perfect. I still think that I think obviously we're still living with COVID very deep in our midst, but it'll be a much stronger quarter.
Nilesh, you spoke about FY21 being a growth year, but what will drive growth for the company from here on? Will segments and geographies, which segments and geographies will contribute to this sort of extra growth you're talking about this year?
I think individual products will drive the near-term growth. So, products like levothyroxine ramping up, products like albuterol, these are the products that will drive growth in the near term. The API business, I think this is a sunshine opportunity for that sector. We said that, last quarter as well. And I think government is trying to move in that direction as well. This is, I think, this part of the battle that the API sector lost in the course of the last few years. This is an opportunity to regain it. I don't think that means an indiscriminate investment into APIs, but cherry picking for the right opportunities to be more vertically integrated, to invest into certain products as well. I think that is the order of the day, and that's how we're looking at it as well. So a couple of products. So for example, we are obviously very meaningful in the anti-TB products. This is a chance to fortify that position much better. And similarly, there are other classes of products as well. That is our approach on the API, and I think this is again a great opportunity for India.
Ramesh, Nilesh was talking about the API business and how it's an opportunity. Can you throw some more color on your plans with respect to the government's PLI scheme? How much would you be looking to invest?
No, we have been looking at that and reviewing our own situation. It's still early. I personally don't believe that the incentives are very lucrative at this stage. But this is talking to the government, and we'll take a call on it in due course.
Nilesh, coming back to you, could you tell us what is the update on remediation of the Goa, Pithampur, Mandideep, Somerset, Tarapur facilities, and what is the chance of desktop audits taking place by the US FDA?
I think the FDA has actually pretty much made it clear that there is no desktop audit as such. The FDA does rely on document review. The FDA does rely on mutual recognition as well. They've made that abundantly clear. So I think while we're pushing the envelope and we really are going to try and work with the FDA to come up with alternative means to address OAI sites, today there is no set procedure to do it. But I think it will come. I think the reality is that COVID is not going anywhere. It's going to be here for the next 3-6 months, and if that is, then travel is not going to happen. Supply disruptions will happen. So those challenges are going to keep coming up. So I think we are aligned with FDA in terms of trying to come up with a solution that does not compromise expectations, but still meets the needs of the needs of the market. But I think we're going to have to work with the FDA. There is no desktop audit as such, at least from US FDA. Some of the other agencies, WHO, for example, TGA, for example, are engaging in alternative means such as remote audits, relying on other regulator audits as well. And I think that could be one way for FDA as well. But I think that's only going to come out after they give clarity on how they would approach it.
Ramesh, I can say that your margins have fallen quite a bit. From over 19% a year ago, it's now down to 13.8%. We understand that this was a weak quarter, but what can you guide on margins going ahead?
On the margin front, we are talking about the fact that things would normalize usually when it comes to America. We do expect to get back to the $180 to $190 million sales, and things picking up in other parts of the globe, including India. We do think gross margins also sustaining. We'll be able to get to a very decent level. We do expect, of course, expenses. So the first quarter also saw one-time expenditure in terms of rationalization of the sales force in America. There was higher expenses in terms of freight and the like. Some parts of it will certainly continue. In Q1, again, there was a huge decline in terms of SG&A expenses, consulting fees, sales promotion expenses. So all of this actually did contribute tremendously to the bottom line. There will be some levels of normalization there. At the beginning of the year, I said that we will be perhaps about 19 to 20%, but that was not taking into account the COVID situation, and that was a caveat that I added to all that I spoke to you about. But given the fact that we are where we are in Q1, I think we should be able to get to a better margin without taking into account the forex or other income, close to about 17%.
Okay, so that is Lupin's commentary. Ramesh and Nilesh, thanks very much, both of you, for joining us and running us through what you see as far as outlook going forward goes. There are flashes at the bottom of the screen. So yesterday, as part of the RBI forbearance, which came through as part of the policy, they had announced that there was